long something takes to do, what are the flows, and these little yellow things are like the inventory in a system. And so if you're from Toyota, you don't know what a value stream map is, but you call it a material and information flow chart. And they do the same thing. You put little angry clouds on here where you find where all the problems are. You put fluffy, happy clouds where there aren't problems. And then your goal is to go from getting rid of all these angry clouds in your system to all happy, fluffy clouds. After that, Jeff Laker and Michael Hoseas wrote a book, Toyota Culture, and that Toyota Culture book talked about the human value stream. And so what was interesting is when a person is sitting there building a car and putting 267 steering wheels on a car per shift, they're not getting any value for themselves. So the customer's getting value, but I, as an employee, aren't getting value. So they reflected on how does an employee get value? And their belief was through the learning and growth of a person. So that people accrete value through their own learning and growth. So in Toyota, the human value stream approach shows that employees gain value when they are learning and growing, and the only way they can do that is when they're not adding value to the car. They're not adding value to the customers, when they have a chance to learn and grow. And so there's this kind of helix thing going on. When the customer's getting value, I'm not getting any value. But when I can't add value to the customer because I can't do my job the way it was to standard, I now have an opportunity to build my problem-solving capability. And that problem-solving capability helps me learn and grow. That allows the customer to get more value for what they have, and then they get more value, and then when I can't create value, I can get more value. So if I can develop people while I'm developing the building of a car, I create this double helix of value between customer and between employee. So I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. So I decided I'm going to call up Michael Hoseas, because one, I had him consult with me for a while, and two, I knew him, and he actually was here last year and spoke at this conference, and so did his son. So sorry, Ted, you're not the first father-son combo. So I said, well, what if a community's role is to help a human learn and grow? What if we thought of it that way? And that the true north of all communities is that we create generative human beings. That all people can be generative, hence Generative Local Community Institute. But that came out of a soul conversation, actually, in Vermont, generative. But how can all community members be generative? So if we think of this, what if material flow is really people flow? What if these are people in this little factory we call a community? What if the supplier is the community? So the community's bringing people, or I guess people bring people into the world, but they're in a community. But let's go with the community side. And what if a generative local community is really the customer? So these are learned and grown into people. People who have can learn and grow and have accreted this learning and growth that creates a generative world. Process could be an NGO. So some NGO in this community process, they go and they convert people and help giving them learning and growth. A government could be part of what happens there. Another NGO, a business. How can people accrete value through this human value stream of humanity? So we've been doing some work in the POINT initiative. So the POINT initiative is a poverty initiative that's based in this region, which its goal is to kind of help reduce or eliminate poverty in our region. And while we were doing this work, we saw two things and two learnings coming out of it. One was that local coaches matter. So we built up a group of local coaches that help our community. But the other one was that systems matter. So we could work on a very specific problem in a nonprofit. But if we don't tie these together in a system, we may not get the best leverage points that we need. And since we know there's limited capital in our nonprofit area, we have to be effective in how we do that. So we've been using this model, which comes out of the Toyota Kata model, about how to think about a community issue or goal. One, what's the community alignment? How do we define excellence, true north? How do we get a challenge or aim for a year around a community problem? And then how do we improve that by setting a target condition, understanding the current condition, and then making experiments to get there. So this is improvement work, but this is alignment like results-based accountability and other things that show, it's what we can do lots of things in our community, but what must we do if we're really going to make progress on some goal or objective? So in businesses, it's like, well, we can take waste out anywhere, but we got to focus our resources to take waste out in the value chain so that we can ensure that we get the most value for our customer. So if you think of these little value streams of humanity, we can understand a current value stream of humanity, and we can understand where we want to go. And if we build that, we can find our little angry clouds, and then we can use those to resource the work that we do. So an example is matching individuals with jobs. So we have a subgroup that's doing this work in our community. And so first of all, we kind of created the alignment. So we understand what's the true north for communities related to matching individuals with jobs in the area. And so the group together decided that every household has financial stability and jobs in the region are filled. That was a group that came together to come up with that. And we said, well, what does financial stability mean? So we said we need a financial stabilimeter to figure that out. And so we went and got through all the data that we've been working on. We figured out that if a household had one person who could make $18 an hour, we believe that they will be financially stable in this 7-county region. If you're in San Francisco, $18 an hour, Boston probably doesn't cut it. But here, if we do that, we notice pairwise comparison over time, people don't fall back into poverty. They kind of are able to get through this, and it's similar to the United Way's Alice report, which says there's a set amount of income you need that's more than just what the government would say poverty is if you're going to actually make it through to be financially stable. So then the group came up with 2 challenges to work on. One is we know about 3.5% of our population naturally transitions over the $18 an hour threshold. We want to double that to 7%. So we have a plan and a date and a time. So July 2019, we want to move from A to B. And we also want to work on female-headed household 100% poverty, because we know there are 8,000 households in our 7-county region that are headed by a woman, and it means that there's someone that's a dependent in their household. So primarily single mothers that are at the 100% poverty level, which is pretty low as married or tardy. So the goal is to get a quarter of them over the line. The point of setting those objectives is not necessarily to achieve them, but to set a direction by which we can take action. And then the improvement work is we've mapped out the current state value stream of humanity. We set a target condition, actually this month primarily, for the end of the year, and then we're doing these experiments. And so it's about 15 or 20 different nonprofits, governmental organizations, and businesses that are experimenting to work towards achieving this goal. And some of you are in this room, I think. This is an example of kind of how we started to look at this. First, we knew there was a bunch of people with no jobs. We had people below 25,000 we were using as a proxy at the beginning. People above 25,000, so that's the inventory of people. And then we know there's lots of different service providers that are doing work and helping to convert people from no job to a job under $25,000 and from a job under $25,000 to a job over $25,000. Some of the learnings, multiple providers for one service. So are we most effective in doing our work? Maybe multiple touch points. Information flow is not always clear, so handoffs between one nonprofit and another, between education and a nonprofit, between government and education, are not always so clear. And so if you start to map those flows of information out, you can make it more effective. Lots of connections, and providers are trying to overcome obstacles. Same type of thing here. Then we talked to companies, said, well, we got lots of jobs available, we have lots of people with no jobs, and we have a really low unemployment. Go figure that one, that's another data mess. But what is it about? And so it's things like people can't pass a drug test, don't have the skills, literacy, can't get there, don't have daycare on third shift, so I can't fill that job because someone can't do that. So we're working on those obstacles as well. So you look here, and you start saying, okay, 42% of households are from no job to under $18 a job an hour in a household. So 42% of our population is not financially stable. you could start saying that, okay, we've gone to job under 12 bucks an hour, a 12 to 18, and over 18. So we're using that as our way to measure that flow. When you think of value streams of humanity, we talked about jobs, but you could imagine other value streams where we want people to learn and grow. Education, financial stability, we're going to be mapping out the housing end-to-end from homeless on the street to stable housing in our community, health and wellness, life skills. So there's opportunities to use a tool like this to help us make problems visible and to help us figure out what to work on. Wrote an article on Planet Lean about the value streams of humanity with Riverview Gardens, which was a place we went to last year for our Go and See. And then I have lots of different ways that you could contact me because I'm continuing to build websites and all these other things. I took a couple of them out. So, any questions with that? I think I'm good on time.